For example purpose, I'm taking here 7 nodes, and what I with the topic of factors controlling alignment, and in that we have covered the first point or the first factor till now, that is the obligatory points. Just to revise it, obligatory points are such points through which your alignment either it has to pass or it should not pass. So we have seen examples for both the points, the ones your alignment should pass and the ones your alignment should not pass through. The second most important factor which controls your alignment is traffic. Now, obviously, you all know we construct roads or highways mainly because we have to move your material and men from one point to another, say point A or city A to city B. But we have seen yesterday also, it never happens that we are connecting only two cities. Whenever we plan a highway, we look into it that we connect more than two cities, or either we closely connect more than two cities with each other, so that the highway serves the purpose for the entire or some area around its vicinity. So your alignment, it should suit the traffic requirement. What I mean by the word suit, that suppose you have to, or you have planned a highway which connects city A to city B, but it already has an existing highway which is of a sufficient width, suppose it's a 4-lane highway, and there is no demand from the users of that road, existing users of that road, or even there is no demand by the people residing in the vicinity of that highway. So they are quite happy with the way the highway is functioning now, and there is no demand. So in that case, if there is no demand, and even if we are providing an alternate highway, so that doesn't make any sense. The reverse case or the opposite condition for this is, there is some city or some cities, suppose X and Y, and there is a lot more of a demand in that area to build a highway, a new facility. Suppose the existing facility is just a single lane road which has been constructed long back 20-40 years ago, but now the development of that area has taken place, and now the traffic has started increasing, so that one single lane road, it is incapable of catering the demand, the present demand. So you have to connect that X and Y cities, but you are not putting your construction in that area, or you are not planning your highway for that X and Y cities. Instead, you are planning for A and B, which are well connected. So that is what I mean by the statement, alignment should suit the traffic requirement. Wherever there is a requirement from the traffic point of view, there you have to plan your alignment. Now to do so, how we will come to know that there is a demand or there is a requirement. Okay. The best or the lamest way that you can say just a statement is, you go door to door and you ask people whether you need a highway or not in this area. Okay. So sort of the some sort of similar thing that is done. Not actually we go door to door, but there is a survey which is carried out, which is known as the origin destination survey. Few of you might have heard about it also. So what is done in this origin destination survey is, it's generally a roadside survey, or roadside survey is one of the methods of performing this OD survey. And then whatever are the vehicles passing by on that road, you stop the vehicles randomly, or you segregate the vehicles randomly, and then you ask few questions regarding the travel pattern or the travel which they are making. So generally we ask questions related to origin, from where you are coming, and to the destination, from to where you are going, and a few more questions related to it, such as the trip length or the travel time or the frequency of the journey. So that goes on in the OD survey. And what we come to know from this OD survey, or the data that we get from OD survey, we use that data to come up with this desire line diagram. Now, what's a desired line diagram? On the right hand side, what you see is that it is a typical example just I have given for a desired line diagram. Now, if you see here, you have various nodes. These black circles are nothing but nodes. Okay, they have been numbered 1, 2, 3, 4 in some sequence. It starts with 1 and the node, there are 15 nodes. So starts with 1 and they have numbered it, and then the last one is here 15. Now, whatever lines you see, these blue lines, okay, these blue lines, they are proportional, or the thickness of this line, blue line, it is proportional to the traffic demand or the existing traffic in that area. Now, what we have done in this OD surveys, we have randomly just asked few vehicles, all types of vehicles rather. It might be a two-wheeler, four-wheeler, all the variations in four-wheeler, it might be all the variations in the truck. So you have randomly just asked some questions, and then you have also done volume count. That is, you have counted the number of vehicles. So clubbing both the data, what you do is you start plotting it on this desired line diagram. First, we only plot the nodes. Okay, suppose these are the nodes that we have plotted. So it might be to the scale, or it might be only a representative one according to the area. Suppose I name it, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, for example purpose, I'm taking here 7 nodes. And what I will be doing now is, I have the OD data. Now one by one, I'll just start plotting. Suppose my first sample, it says the vehicle was going from 1 to 2. So I'll just draw one line. The second sample says the vehicle was going from 1 to 5. I'll plot one line. The third sample says the vehicle was going from 6 to 3. Okay, 7 to 4, 3 to 4, 3 to 7. So like this, whatever is the data that you get from the OD survey, you just go on plotting it. Okay. Now suppose there are 2 more vehicles which you have surveyed, and they have said that they were traveling from 6 to 3. So in that case, you will just overdraw on this line. Okay. Then 1 to 5. So like this, you have to just go on plotting the trips that you have surveyed on the nodes that you have plotted. And after you have done this, after you have plotted all the OD data that whatever you had, then you will be coming to, or then your diagram will look something like this. So what you see in this diagram is, particularly if you see node number 1, node number 2, 6, and 10. So this is the route where you see the blue line, it is having more width, or thickness is more as compared to the other blue lines. So we can directly relate it. I told you this thickness, it is proportional to number of trips. So the more the thickness of this blue line, what you see in this desired line diagram, the more the thickness, it means there are more trips on this road. Specifically this road, in this example, road from node number 6 to node number 10. Okay. So here the trips are maximum. You see the blue line is quite sufficiently wide or thick. So then you come to know that whatever is the road network, or whatever is the area which is under your jurisdiction, suppose you are deputed in PWD roads department, and you are at a quite a high post, suppose an executive engineer also, and then you are asked by your senior superintending engineer to submit a report of your area, and then you have to come up with the roads which require upgradation, or you require new roads in that area. So for that, first you have to do this OD survey. Okay, and then you have to come up with this desired line diagram, which will help you to understand the travel pattern in the area that you are considering. So now I have identified from node 6 to node 10, I have a huge amount of traffic. So I will go into the detail that which road, is there any existing road? Obviously there will be an existing road which is connecting node 6 and 10. So what is the condition of that road? What is the width of that road, how much traffic goes on that road, and then I'll do the analysis, and then I'll submit a proposal whether I need an improvement in that road or not. So typically this is the process that you have to follow before deciding whether you will be constructing a road from A to B, or whether you will be upgrading a road, or you will not do anything to the existing facility. So that's why this traffic factor is, as I mentioned it in the earlier lecture, it is one of the most important factor for deciding the alignment or controlling, which controls the alignment. But unfortunately, it is also the most overseen factor or neglected factor in Indian conditions, what I have seen so far. I'm not saying that all the road projects neglect this traffic aspect, but many of the road projects neglect this traffic aspect, as in they do the traffic surveys, they do all the studies. Will be seeing in the few lectures after this that what are in detail the surveys required. So in that we'll be seeing the traffic surveys in detail. But whatever are the traffic surveys suggested by the IRC or MORTH specifications, the contractor does all the surveys, but he doesn't go in that much detail from the analysis point of view. He just collects the data and keeps it. So that results in such projects, which you might have also experienced, some of you might have experienced, that the highway was constructed and within a year the highway has got saturated. There is a lot of traffic on that highway, the volume has gone increasing, there is a huge queue on the tolls. So that is a result of an improper traffic survey, which was supposed to be done in detail and analyzed in detail before fixing the alignment. So this is the part related to traffic. I'll just to give you a brief or a overview that what goes in a project, highway project. So I'll just discuss with you a project which was uh, done by my the company in which I was working before. It was a road from Biaura to Jhalawar. It was a road connecting two cities of Biaura was in Madhya or is in Madhya Pradesh, and Jhalawar it is in Rajasthan. So it was a almost 140 kilometer road which was connecting these two cities. So for that they have, or we had done some traffic survey. I'll just show you that what a desired line diagram actually looks like. The one which I have shown you in the presentation, that is also one type of desired line diagram, but always there are various ways to plot a certain data. Okay, so this is a traffic report for that road project. Okay, so there are a lot more details. I'll not cover all the details. I want to show you the points related to OD survey. So as you can see here, so for this 150 kilometer stretch, the OD survey was done at two locations. This number what you see, kilometer 352 plus 100 and kilometer 396 plus 300. So these are the changes for that project. And if you see here the duration, so the duration was 24-hour complete. It's not like the survey in the report only they have written 24 hours and on site they have not done that much. Whatever is there written here, the same amount of time was invested for the survey. So the OD survey was done for 24-hour continuous. Even if it's at 3 a.m. in the night, we think that there is no traffic, but there might be some goods traffic or trucks which travel only during night time. So for that you have to cover all the 24 hours. So for this project, this OD survey was done for 24 hours at two locations. And there are a lot other surveys which were also done. We'll discuss that in the lectures coming forth. So if you see in this diagram, in the legend, the red square will show the locations of that OD survey. So this was the starting point, 412, and this was the ending point, or rather Jhalawar was the starting point and Biora was the ending point, and these are the two locations where the OD survey was done, the ones shown in the red square. Now from this survey, now how was this survey done? If you see here, OD survey. So as I told you, what we do is, we have to, if we see the process, we have to take prior permission from the police department. You can see here a police is deputed. So you have to take permission from the police department, because you are going to stop the vehicles. Okay, and you are not authorized to do that unless you have a permission. So when you approach for permission, they give you some assistance, and then what is done is randomly some vehicles are stopped, and then you see here there are two people who have questionnaires in their hand, and they ask some questions. Okay. Similarly, here a truck has been halted at the side of the road, and then a questionnaire is filled. So like this OD survey takes place, and from this OD survey, what we get to know is, okay, so this is a typical desire diagram which has been plotted for this specific project. Okay. Now it's different from the one which you have seen in the presentation. In the presentation, what I had shown you was the area was divided into nodes, and then uh, nodes were joint using lines, and the lines were represented of number of trips. But what has been done here is, just they have segregated, suppose cars and jeeps. So for a particular location, this chain age 350 to 100, for this chain age, this desired line diagram is plotted. So if you see here, it is for car and jeep, the left one which you see on the left side. So for car and jeep, what they have done is they have divided this it in circles, and the circles are nothing but areas. The yellow one, the bigger one, what you see, it is representing the rest of the India. Okay, I'll start with the within one. The smallest one, the orange one, it is within Jhalawar district. Now, as I told you, this project was from Rajasthan to MP, Jhalawar to Biora. So whatever was the movement within that district, that is shown in this orange circle. The ones in the red green circle, it is rest of the Rajasthan. Okay, so Jhalawar is only one district, and green is representing the rest of Rajasthan, and then yellow is representing the rest of India. Yes, and you can see some arrows. So this arrow which is having the value 623 above it, so it means there are 623 movements, or the OD survey which was recorded. So from that data, 623 vehicles were such that they were moving within this district. Okay, they were going from point A to point B within the district itself, Jhalawar district itself. The second one, what you see here, which is having 146 value. So now that arrow, if you see, it starts in this orange circle and it ends in green circle. So what that means is, this 146 trips or movements were such that they were going from either from Jhalawar district to some district within Rajasthan, or they were traveling from some outside district which is in Rajasthan to Jhalawar district. Okay. So that's the representation you can interpret for the other circles as well. If you see here, the arrow which is having value 17, so it is just in that yellow circle. So this means there were 17 trips which were going from one part of India to another part, and they were only traveling on this highway because it was taking them from that from their origin to destination. They had no business with the Jhalawar district or the Rajasthan state as such. They were traveling across states. So this type of diagram, it gives a sense that what will be your traffic pattern or traffic demand, and likewise you can plan your highway. So I hope that's clear to you what is or how the traffic influences the alignment that you will be finalizing. The next parameter or the next factor which controls your alignment is the geometrics. Geometrics, we will be studying it in detail in your second unit. But for now, just remember that while finalizing your alignment, you have to side by side design your alignment for the geometrics as well. And by geometrics, I mean you have to design its gradient. You have to design the radius of curves, whatever horizontal curves you provide. You have to design its side distance. We'll be again looking this in detail in second unit. And then you have to decide for what speed you have to design that highway. We all know there is something called design speed, or you have a speed limit sign on your roads, which you might have seen. So that speed limit is nothing but a safe speed at which you should travel. Generally, it is 75% or 80% of the design speed. Design speed is a little bit higher value, but for the regulation purpose, the safe limit sign are installed. So all these four parameters or four factors will help you in finalizing the alignment for your road. Without finalizing these four, or it's not like you have to first finalize the alignment and then you have to switch to the geometric design part. It's not like that. You have to do this geometric design plus you have to finalize the alignment simultaneously. So this is the third factor which controls your alignment. The fourth, and again one of the most important factors, it is economics. So I have discussed this yesterday also. So economics, obviously, it is also one of the ideal requirements for your alignment. Ideally, if you have to design your alignment, so it should be economical. So that is also one of the factor which controls the alignment that you are plotting. So again, it's the same point that your alignment should be such that it takes care of all these three or four types of cost. That is the initial cost, it's the periodic maintenance cost, and it's the operating cost. And overall economics of the road, it is based on the life cycle cost. You might have heard this term in your third year when you were studying PMEE. So life cycle cost is nothing but for whatever duration that structure is intended to. Suppose in case of road, if I have a bituminous road or a blacktop road, so generally that road is designed for 15 years. So it should sustain for 15 years. So whenever I do this economic study or I find out the costing, I find out the cost required for these 15 years. That becomes the complete life cycle cost of that road. It's not like you from this 15 years you will be requiring only 1 or 2 years for construction. But we are not only focusing on this 1 or 2 years cost, we are focusing on the cost of the whole life of that road. Okay, so that's a life cycle cost. Now, in case of particularly highway projects, there is always a trade-off that you have to face, that either you have to choose the economical aspect or you have to choose the specifications or standards which finalize your alignment. So in that case, instead of going for a trade-off, that instead of making your highway expensive or instead of making your highway unsafe or not that much easy for construction point of view and using point of view, what we do in case of highway is something called stage construction. Now, what is this stage construction is? From the name, if you guess it, stage construction means your highway is constructed in stages. Now, what I mean by in stages is, suppose a typical highway, you have cross sections such as you have a subgrade at the bottom, you have the subbase, then you have the base layer, and then you have this bituminous layer. Okay, this is the black surface, top surface that you see. So now this bituminous layer, it will be, suppose I am designing it for 15 years. So for that 15 years, if my value, it comes out to be, I'll say 80 mm. Okay, now this value, it comes from design that you will be seeing in the fifth unit pavement design. But for now, just assume that for 15 years your value comes out to be 80 mm for the topmost layer, but you don't have that much money to construct all the layers of the given thickness. Suppose this is 80, the base layer is suggested as say 200 mm, the subbase is 230 mm, and then you have a subgrade of greater than half a meter. So obviously now we have to construct a road, but you have to also make it economical. So what is done is, or what as a contractor I have an option is, I'll construct these 3 layers as it is, whatever are mentioned in the design report. So subgrade I'll construct of more than half a meter, subbase I'll construct of 230 mm, and base I'll construct of 200 mm. So I don't have any scope in this, but what I can do is this 80 mm, whatever is suggested by the designer. Now this 80 mm is never required at the starting of the project. As I told you, the economical analysis for any highway project, we do it for whole life of your highway, okay, for 15 years in this case. Similarly, this pavement design is also done for 15 years. So in 15 years, it's not like the traffic that we have seen is one of the factor. So it's not like this traffic will remain the same for 15 years. Whatever traffic is there at the first year or zeroth year, it will not be the same at the 15th year. Obviously, it will go on increasing. Okay, the traffic at 15th year, it will be much more than the one at zeroth year. So for the initial 5 years or so, I can sustain, or my road can sustain with just 40 mm of bituminous layer. And after suppose 5 years or 10 years, or for understanding purpose, we'll say 7.5 years, after half of the life, I'll provide the another 40 mm. Okay, so this is nothing but the stage construction that I'm talking about. So this is one of the very good option that can be selected in case you have a less fund, but you also have the necessity to construct that road in that area. I hope it's clear. And then there are some other few considerations. Now I have categorized them as other, but mind well, each of this point is as important as the one I have discussed earlier in detail. So your hydrological factors will also govern what alignment you should follow. Hydrological as in the climatic factor, the flooding factor. Then there are some political issues which will disallow you, or which will lead you to change your alignment or shift your alignment. Just a short example for this I'll give. Again, it's from one of the projects that I have worked before. So there was a project in Madhya Pradesh, MP, and there was a town called Semaria, the one which you see here highlighted. Okay. So this Semaria, it had a bypass, already existing bypass. You can see here, I'm showing it with the cursor. And we were supposed to design a second bypass which will complete the loop. Now this was just one side of Semaria. So we had to complete the loop. So we had to give a bypass from this side also. So there was a political issue in the sense in this project. Now, obviously, when you have to complete the loop, you have to keep the starting and ending point of the bypass same. So the ending point was here. So obviously, we had to construct a bypass and we had to end it here. So the land which was there in this land, so it was under political dispute. So we were unable to acquire this land at the initial phases of the project. So that was leading us to shifting our alignment a little bit ahead somewhere here. Okay, so the bypass was supposed to end at this point, but due to some political issues and land constraints, we were forced to shift the alignment or the bypass here, end point. So This is just an example that I had to show regarding this political issues. Again, there are two constraints related or two factors related to the water level. That is, one is the groundwater level and second is flood level. So depending on this, whether your existing road, it is affected by these two factors or it will be affected in future, you have to decide your alignment. You never pass your alignment through areas where there is probability of groundwater raising during the monsoon period. So that will affect your structure as a whole. Then again, you have a land acquisition issue. The one which I discussed just now of Semaria town, that is also considered as a land acquisition issue. And the last one, last factor that affects or controls your alignment, it is the monotony. Monotony in the sense, monotonous means in a same way, the characteristics or pattern of that alignment remains the same throughout the project. Suppose it's a 500-kilometer project. It's a very large scope-wise project I'm talking about. So 500 kilometers, suppose you give a same kind of alignment. Same kind means you have a same gradient. You don't have, suppose to understand monotony, you start from point A and you have to go point B, which is 500 kilometer apart. Now you start your vehicle and suppose you have changed the gear and you have reached fourth gear. So there is no need of changing that gear throughout that 500 kilometers. So that's what I mean by monotony of your alignment. So your alignment should not be monotonous. This is from the aesthetic point of view and also from the safety point of view, because once your alignment becomes monotonous, the driver is less attentive on the road, and that's why most of the accidents take place. So these were all about the factors which control their alignment: obligatory points, traffic, geometric design, economics, and some other consideration. In the next lecture, we will be starting with the surveys which are